This is Deconstructing Dating, a podcast where we, two matchmaker cousins and best friends, determine whether common courtship concepts are dating myths or dating truths. I'm Tiana.
And I'm Marnie. We'll settle all the age-old questions. Do you wait 3 days after a date to contact someone? Can you have too many deal breakers? Can you have sex on the first date?
Let's find out together and debunk the myths of courtship.
Because dating shouldn't be this hard.
Marnie, let's talk about the thought process of wanting the thing that you can have, but you can never truly get. I mean, what is up with these people that are constantly chasing the bad boys? You've got these women that are chasing the bad boys. You've got these men that are chasing the supermodel women about town. And what are they missing out on? And what? Why do they think they're going to be the ones that's going to hunker them down? They're just going to change their whole life.
Well, I can't answer that, but I can tell you what both of them have in common is that they're both attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable.
Ooh. But haven't you done that? Haven't you knowingly dated the bad boy before?
Yes, I married him. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you thought you were going to change him.
I thought I was going to change him. Absolutely.
Okay.
And when things got rough for us, and he was stepping out, I honestly thought that if I could cook a better meal, he would stop doing what he was doing. Or if I were a better wife, or because of me and the kids, whatever. You know, you can't change people. People only change when they want to change. And people only want to change when there's a big, huge impetus to change. They don't just change on their own.
Well, and I think this is a big thing we work on with our clients. A lot of times our clients will come in and it's not that they can't get dates. I mean, they get plenty of dates. We've got amazing clients that are coming to us, but they're dating the wrong people and they end up in the same place. And I think of these amazing younger men that we're working with who are seasoned and professional and educated and have great values and great morals. And they go for the supermodel. Yes. Beautiful, nice. And then, they're basically telling them, I'm not ready to settle down, but for some reason they think it's going to be the one that settles them down. No. I mean, when people tell you, believe them.
Well, and it's so interesting to me that both men and women, they'll continuously seek out and date the same person over and over. Even though it didn't work, they'll do it again and they'll do it again. Because until you're able to identify kind of those maladaptive core beliefs, whatever it is that's going on in your brain about yourself that you're not worthy, you're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, we have people, they continue to find themselves in relationships that they get cheated on. We have people that continue to find themselves in relationships where they feel abandoned. We have people that continue to find themselves in relationships that are abusive.
Yes.
And
I'll tell you something else about the whole bad boy thing. Bad boy thing it's very immature. And first of all, it's immature to be a bad boy in your 40s and 50s. Second of all, it's immature, right? Think about it.
It's still cool, but it's not.
It's still cool, but I mean, how cool is it, really? I mean, and when you're 40, when you're at our age and you're dating and looking for a potential partner, do you really want a bad boy? I mean, yes, you want someone who's going to be fun and, maybe take you on a motorcycle and enjoy life with you. But the true definition of a bad boy, I don't think I want that. And I think a lot of women seek that out to try to maintain their youth.
Yeah. Well,
and also they think they're going to change them.
And that's the bad girl thing too. I mean, That could actually even go into the cougar lifestyle, which I know we're going to talk about another day. But I think I told you when I was on Tinder for that short time and I kept getting hit up by these 30-year-old men. Here we go. By these 30-year-old men. And I finally was one I was just talking to because I thought he was funny. And I said, why? Why do you go after these 45, 50-year-old women? And he's like, they don't want kids. They don't want to get married. Yep. They just literally just want to fuck and feel good about themselves for a while and go on about their day. They don't need me to fix their house. They don't need me to fix their car. They just go away. And I was like, holy cow, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you something really funny, Tiana. We had young fans that, as we get on our TikTok, that actually wrote in something inappropriate to us, but he told us his age. He was 30 years old, invited us to do something sexually with him. Oh. And I actually wrote him back. And I said to him, I said, why? Why are you interested in us? You're adorable. You're 30 years old. Go find someone age appropriate. And he said, women your age are all on hormones. You're horny.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I'm so glad you answer those messages and not me. I am glad that you manage our social media.
Honestly, Tiana, it's entertainment for me.
I know you love it and you're great at it. Yeah, not for me.
No, but yeah. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, different strokes.
Different strokes for different folks.
We are so excited for our episode today. So as you know, we bust the myths of dating. We discuss these myths and these commonalities and practices of common courtship. And today we have an extremely special guest, Justin Kaufmann, who is a very, very longtime friend. I mean, gosh, for 40 years we've been friends. And he's got a very interesting perspective on things. And so we are excited to get into it. And today what we're going to be discussing is, can a bachelor be reformed? Can a bachelor be reformed? So you can translate that word bachelor with party guy, fuck boy, ultimate playboy, all of the different things. But I think that there's still some fantasy and glory around that. So I can't wait to get into it a little bit. So Justin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to be on.
All right. So Marnie, where do you want to start with this? I know you've got a ton of questions.
I don't even know where to begin. First of all, Justin, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you.
I'm happy to be here and spend time with you guys and see what you guys got to ask me today.
All right. So I guess my first question for you is, what is your relationship status currently?
I don't know. The last year I've been dating a lot and just kind of out in the field.
So give us your perspective of what dating a lot is. What does that look like?
I don't know. Like I spent the last year, I spent a lot of time with 2 or 3 girls a week, kind of just out, and I spent a lot of time in Old Town and doing things and just being out and having fun and getting to know people. And I was dating younger, but now I kind of am turned off by that. So I don't know. It's been an experience.
And tell us, how old are you?
42.
And what's younger?
23 to 26.
Yeah, that's young. What was your experience with that? Why did you change your mind?
I think we lack just a mental substance of where a younger person is in life, and then compared to somebody that's raising kids and a business owner, like we're just way off.
Okay. Yeah. I would also think that someone in their 20s is maybe thinking about wanting to start a family, maybe settle down, maybe thinking about future.
Yeah, and I think that's a tough thing too, because I have 4 kids. I'm pretty content with where I'm at. And if you're willing, without a selfish outlook, if you were going to date a woman that's 25 years old and you're 42 years old, the problem is, if it is a problem to you, is that, are you willing to have another kid?
Right.
Yep.
Because that 25-year-old woman, and she might not want 3 or 4 kids, but pretty much all those girls will want at least one of their own kids.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're starting over. So Justin, when we talk about the ultimate bachelor lifestyle, Marnie and I discuss a lot of things. We get asked a lot of questions. And when I thought about somebody who lives the bachelor lifestyle, and one of the things that I love about you the most is that you live unapologetically. You just really put yourself out there. You will say things that people think. You will do things that people always want to do. You don't really hide it. But there's a perception around that. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of judgment. So in my mind, I know what I think a bachelor lifestyle is. Would you describe to us what you would call, what would people identify you as? And what does that look like? What is your day? What does your week look like?
But the thing is, with many bachelors, I don't think we're all the same. Like my personality bleeds a lot different, right?
Yes.
I walk every day like I don't give a shit what no one thinks. I fear no evil. I live a different life. And I tell young guys this, that I coach in wrestling and football, and your ultimate success of a man, and it's mine, and it doesn't mean everyone can agree with it, but is when you fear nothing and you get to a point of your success in your life that you don't give a shit what people think about you or how you live or how you do things. And then in your mind as a man, you're like, dude, you live in a closet in sinful ways, and I don't give a shit about how you live. But for me, I'm going to be honest and throw it out on there of what I am and who I am.
So Justin, I have a question about that piece. You living your most authentic self and just not giving a shit what anybody thinks or anybody, whatever. Was that behavior that was modeled for you by your father growing up? Like, where did you learn? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think my dad is a little more reserved than me as far as, like to public eye, right?
I guess what I'm wondering is where that, so you, in your mind, you created a definition of what a real man is, and you've lived up to that definition in your mind, and in your life, it's worked for you. And I'm just wondering where that came from. If your father was the same and he, had a part in that.
I mean, I think he has a little bit of that, but I think I'm a lot more extreme of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think I got people around me, friends, family, that to the outside looking in, they're like, oh my gosh, he's a perfect person. He's so good. He's this and that. And then those are the same people, because I live with my life on my sleeve, like I don't give a shit kind of mentality. Those are the same people that are calling me and like, hey, by the way, dude, I'm screwing this other dude's wife down the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my wife don't know. Because they're comfortable telling me,
Right.
because I live more of an open life.
So in your perspective, you do a lot of shit that a lot of people do. You're just open about it. You're not trying to hide it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because there's been times where mom's hard on me and like this and that. And I'm like, hey, I don't mean to sell out, but let me point some fingers around you and let you know how they live. The difference of me is like, oh, you see Justin Kaufmann out on Friday with this hot 25-year-old chick. Like, dude, I'm not hiding it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not arrogant about it. It's just what I like to do and how I like to live. Well, and it's me. It's authentic.
Was it the fact that you were with a 25-year-old, or was it the fact that you were with another woman when you had maybe somebody already at home? Could that be
No,
it?
I think... No, my mom has internal. My mom has judgments of the way I live, no matter what. And moms do that. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many men that would rather their moms or dads or their family around them or their friends not know exactly how they live, and they would rather hide that, right? I just choose not to hide that.
That's why I reference back to Justin has always been unapologetically Justin. Look, I mean, we come from a small town. There's a lot of people that try to do things on the down low. The fact of the matter is usually people find out. But the thing with Justin is when you explain him, it's just Justin. Like there's no other way to say it. And you're either going to just accept what's put out there or separate yourself because you're not going to change. So when we talk about like some of the judgments, Justin, I mean, you hear a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of people are like, man, you do this and you do that. And you're always stepping out with different chicks and you say crazy things. And I want to get into this because some of the things that you say, even when you're describing women, could be offensive, but in a weird way, it's kind of not because you just say it unapologetically again. So do you have this opinion that people who throw shade at you or judge you there's like a little bit of envy that you're living this lifestyle that either they have to hide or they wish they could?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's me not unapologetic or not. I think when I say things, I think they're authentic to how I feel. And it doesn't mean that everybody feels that way, but when I say it, it's authentic to how I feel. And a lot of times, whether I say something about a dude or a woman, I think it's actually true 95% of the time anyway, but then people don't want to agree with it if it hurts their feelings.
Can you give me a recent example of some time where you said something where you saw some shock value?
No, even on a podcast I did a couple months ago, it blew up so big. And then like most of the people, a decent amount were like, oh man, this dude just kind of speaks the truth of what's really out there. And then the women that it touched on and it offended, they came back in argumentative way on their comments, right? And then you're sitting there like, this is why you're single, because you're a fucking monster. You know what I mean?
I do have a question for you, Justin. When you had said earlier that you date 2 or 3 women in a week at a time, do the women know about each other? Do they know that you're not exclusive?
You know how fucking brash I am? I'm in Old Town and everybody knows who I am. I will be out on a Tuesday at 4:30 with a lady friend and we'll party. And on Thursday, I'll be back there around the same 4 or 5 places. And yeah, everybody knows who I am. I don't hide it. I mean, there's waitresses and bartenders that are young, beautiful women that are like, I want to hang out with you, but you're always with different women. Yeah, I'm always with different women because a lot of women are a pain in the ass. And like, I'm at a stage in my life that the value of a woman now, like, for me to be with one woman, like she has to be fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
So what's phenomenal? I'd love to know what is on your checklist.
I think so.
Does she
The
exist?
yeah, I mean, you know what? I without getting too deep, but there's
Get deep. Get deep. We want to hear.
the last couple months. I spent most of my time with a woman in her mid 30s. It's probably the most phenomenal chick I've ever met. Now there's still the point of a scared point as a man is like, dude, you got everything you want. Your kids are firing as champions. Your company's championed. Your life's championed. And like, do you risk bringing another woman and being with one woman at this point in your life? Yes or no?
So this is my question for you. Is this lifestyle sustainable? Is it a sustainable lifestyle? And when I say sustainable, I mean, is this something that you're going to continue? I mean, when you think about it, it's not an easy lifestyle, Justin. It's got to be exhausting. I mean, I know you're in your 40s, but eventually you're going to get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it is sustainable. I think I've noticed the last 90 days of moving to a different way of how I do things and spending less time with women. And I'm still raising kids, which is the most important to me. And so that time and value, because there's a lot of energy and time that you're wasting too, right?
Right.
So no, it's not sustainable. And the other thing is like, it's not what I want. It's just, I came out of a relationship this last year, and I think we go into a different outlook of a little bit rebellious and like, you know what, I'm in a fuck it mindset. And that's something that happens. And I'm in a position as a man that I'm a likable man, I'm a successful man, and it's easy for me to live that lifestyle if I want to live that lifestyle. Where you got to think about where the other side.
Does that make it hard to walk away from then? I would imagine that it makes it harder for someone like you. I mean, I'm looking at you. You're an extremely handsome man. You're in excellent physical condition. You're very bright, and you're articulate in the way that you speak. So I would assume that you don't have any problems with women. Does that make it more difficult then for someone like you to walk away from this lifestyle?
Yeah, because the temptation of a lot of things in life are that way, right?
Yeah.
So if you have something that comes somewhat easy for you, I don't know, it's not as much work as it could be. So you're like, oh, it comes easy for me and it's enjoyable. So I could do these kind of things.
But let's go back to the bachelor style in general too. Okay, so when I imagine the bachelor lifestyle, I imagine partying, drinking, loads and loads of girls, drugs.
I imagine drugs, fun drugs,
excitement.
Are you guys imagining cocaine off hot girls' asses?
Yes, that's exactly
Justin.
what I'm imagining. I mean,
I don't know if I'd ever partake in that or if I do or I don't, but it sounds like a great thing.
You're not going to confirm nor deny.
No.
Yeah, you don't have to confirm or deny. You should just give us other hypothetical examples of what a bachelor style looks like. So this is not necessarily about you, but let's talk about a bachelor lifestyle.
Yeah, when I think about like a crazy bachelor lifestyle, right? I think about endless parties that go into the wee hours of the morning when you see the sun come up. I think about cocaine off of, strippers' asses. I think about, different women in the same night. Like I think about it just being crazy. But then I also think about like what happens when the shit does hit the fan and you do need somebody there that's going to just hold some space with you when life gets real. What happens when medical stuff happens, because we age and shit happens.
Well, you hope your daughter will wipe your ass one day for you because she loves you so much. But
you hope, but I guess what you would really hope is that your daughter's in a healthy, committed relationship and in her own life, right? In her own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
No, like the outlooks of everything is like, I'm not sustaining this lifestyle. If that woman, here's the thing too, you don't rush as a man or a woman. You can't rush things. So you will know if that woman that steps into your life, and it's not right away, but after 3, 4, 6 months, you get feelings and you'll know if that's the right move for you. And then the other thing you got to think on a psychology level is that the first 6 months when you meet somebody, that's the fucking fake them, okay? 90% of people, like, that's kind of the fake them, right? The following 6 months is more or less like that woman that she's like, oh, how does Justin like me? Let's be this person now. And then after that year, you start getting the authentic person. Then you're like, fuck, do I run or not? So you can't rush shit either.
I don't know where you're meeting these women. That's crazy, Justin.
When we talk about like the bachelor lifestyle, okay, so let's talk about this. And okay, so you're in a committed relationship or you're in a committed marriage, and there's just something so appealing about this party life that you don't want to give it up. So what is it like? Like how do you differentiate? Because I'm going to say, I want to say with all certainty, you are a good man. You are a good father. But to the outside world, were you the man in your marriage that you would want your daughter to date or to marry, right? And so how do you separate that? And how do you go for that?
No, the marriage that I was in as a young man I was a fucking phenomenal provider, a great father, sexual giver, but outside of that, was I kind of a piece of shit a lot of ways because I had girlfriends and lived a certain life? No, I wasn't a great husband at all. But the craziest thing about that too is the facets of what a great husband is. 90% of that was covered, which 90% of men can't cover.
Wait a second.
What I mean?
Wait. Go back to that. That's your definition, sir, of what makes a husband great, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So your definition of what makes a husband great is providing financially for your family and being there for your children, not necessarily being faithful?
No, I mean, obviously the faithful part is a shitty part, right?
Well, I think that's all of it, because without that, you don't have trust, right?
Okay, so that's all of it. I've talked to a million women about this. What do you mean that's all of it? You go and you're with a husband for 20 years and the only thing about him, because he's not good looking or he's not an alpha, is he's loyal as fuck to you and you're proud of that. Dude don't provide worth a shit. He's a half-ass fucking dad. He doesn't fuck you good. What do you mean? Like, that's 90% of being a husband. What are we talking about? Oh, a faithful guy? That's all you got, motherfucker? Because you ain't shit else.
Okay, but being unfaithful speaks to your values. It speaks to your core values of who you are, right?
Yeah.
But see, that's where I go back to when we talk about this bachelor lifestyle and you have this brain wired. You are, again, you're a good man. You're a phenomenal father. How is it just the intrigue of that other temptation? Is it just, what is it that pulls you into that lifestyle, even if you're married, even if you want to be married, even if you find a good girl? I mean, because that's the myth that we're talking about today is, can you be reformed? Like, what is it that pulls you into that lifestyle?
Well, I also kind of want to know, like, what happens if these girls catch feelings? Like, have any of them ever caught feelings and wanted more? And what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely catch feelings. Here's the thing is, like, let's be honest. You're not going to have sex with a woman more than 5 to 7 times without her brain going to filling mode.
5 to 7 times, Justin. My goodness, you are busy, sir.
Well, I'm just throwing a number out there. It's probably 3, but I'm thinking 5 to 7 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if you are with this girl that's phenomenal and everything going on, there's something intriguing about having multiple women or being able to have the freedom to go out there. What is that feeling like of wanting to live this lifestyle?
I think that, like, coming out of that relationship, which I was loyal to her. I've changed over the years. If I'm going to be with a woman, my loyalty has been good. My younger manisms were pretty bad that I took what I wanted. You know what I mean? And you got to think with a lot of men that are successful and they're hardworking and they build stuff. And Tiana, you're that way. You're a woman. You're like successful. You've built stuff. So there's that grind of who you are. But as men, we also are like, oh, I'm gonna achieve this with my company. I'm gonna achieve that. And you know what? That girl's kind of good looking over there, so I'm gonna achieve her too.
Yeah, so it's like goes along with that same. It's like conquering.
Yes, and it goes along with the same mindset. So most people, if they are the same as me, like they're going to be in the fast car and they're living a fast life and they're going to be successful and they love that pace. Most of those men are going to be like, oh, I like that girl over there in the corner too.
Yeah. So it's conquest.
I agree with that.
It's conquest.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I liked what you said, Justin, when you talked about the mindset, because it keeps going to me now. And I also hear you bring up a lot of sexual references. And I'm wondering if you're getting so much dopamine and serotonin from these behaviors that it's almost like an addiction. Does it become like an addiction?
Well, I think sex can be an addiction. Like for me, a person that could do drugs for 3 straight days and go on a bender in Brazil and then not do drugs for a year straight. I don't think I have this very addictive personality. Gambling, I could lose 10 grand a day and not go back for 6 months, But when it comes to sex, I do think partially there is a sex addiction there.
Yeah. Well, sex addiction too. Remember, it's a process addiction. So it's something that is deep rooted in the brain, and you don't need substances like drugs and alcohol, right? To get
it's
high.
just people.
All you have to do is think. All you have to do is even think. Yeah.
So When you see a pretty woman in the corner, right? And we're referencing that this is how a lot of guys who kind of live this lifestyle think. When you see a pretty woman in the corner and it's a conquest, is there times where you're kind of like, hey, this might be the one. I might settle down for the one, or do you know exactly what you're going after?
No, I'm not. I am not. I think in the beginning of if you rewind me 7, 8, 9 months ago, that it would have been more like, okay, like, yeah, I know what I'm going after. She's hot. I think I want to hit that kind of thing, more or less. But then now it's crazy because, like you're saying, we're talking about being reformed, right? My mental mindset is so much different in the last 90, 120 days because I went through dating younger chicks. I didn't get enough substance out of it. So, like, even going now, you go on a date and whether it's young or old, it could be a 40-year-old woman, which was recent, like, you don't get enough mental substance. And I literally was like, oh, she's kind of attractive. I spent a few hours with her. What I've been doing the last few months that changed me drastically is like the power of a man not having sex with women. My thing now is like, dude, like if you don't really like her and she's not like mental substance to you that you actually vibe on it, then you're not really attracted. And this is kind of how my brain has changed in this year, is that I'm not really, there's so many hot women that I've turned down in the second ladder of this year of process of being single, that I feel great about it. And I feel powerful about it too, because I don't want to have sex with these women, because then I'm like, oh, I have to deal with a fucking phone call tomorrow. I got to deal with her next week and she's annoying as fuck. You know what I mean? So it's became better in this process.
So it's like consequence based. You're like, okay, I've done this and then I have to deal with the aftermath. So I'm really going to weigh the options of, is she so fuckable that I'm willing to have to deal with the aftermath?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Which now I'm to like, the point is like, Justin, you've been with so many beautiful women, like you don't need to conquer that, because that's going to be a conquered pain in the ass to you. My mind is firing different.
Well, can you ever conquer? Yeah, I mean, but the other thing too is like, there's always going to be something better. There's always going to be another woman that's more beautiful, that's thinner, that's younger, so when does it end? When does it end?
Yeah. But what is better, right? Like maybe on a substance level is better to look at, because she might not be better, but as humans, we naturally think the grass is greener, which is a bad deal, right?
And so all of these women, and okay, so you're going, and I think of like other people, like we talk about, Shep Rose from Southern Charm, where he's got the town of Charleston and they're out every night and it's just this party lifestyle, which is what you described here in Scottsdale. So you're going out to the places over and over again, big dog style, VIP, everybody gets in, everybody gets bottle service. So women are a part of that lifestyle, but also the scene is part of that lifestyle. So is it like, okay, now I'm just giving up, or I'm not giving up, I'm being more selective about the women, but I still want that lifestyle? And at some point,
how can you juggle both? I feel like it goes hand in hand, Tiana. That's an excellent point. How do you deal with that? It's like being.
Sorry, guys.
It's like if you're the lead singer of a rock and roll band and you have an issue with drugs and alcohol and you get sober, but you still go on tour. How do you stay sober if you're in that environment?
Yeah, I think that's the power of a man, like overcoming adversity as a man. So if I'm gonna make that point to be like with one woman, and then that your heart's still gonna have some burning, that there's desires out there, but beating that substance and beating that is a win too. And the other thing about driving as a man is winning, right? And so winning might have to turn into being a loyal man the next 40 years if you actually love that woman.
Interesting.
So there's a lot to this.
I wonder about the women you're going after, because again, in a lot of towns, whether it be Scottsdale or Charleston or even New York City, they're big, small towns. So if you have this reputation and then the woman gets your attention, right? Let's reference the waitress who sees you out 4 or 5. Is there some sort of mentality where she's like, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one that he's going to settle down for? And, all of these kind of things.
Definitely.
Like, let's look at the reverse psychology of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably better to meet a woman in the grocery store than the nightclub that knows who you are.
Yeah, but only if she's dressed appropriately, right? How is a woman supposed to dress in the grocery store, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a single woman, say you're a single 30-year-old woman, 35-year-old woman, 40-year-old woman, don't you think you should look desirable at the grocery store?
Yes.
Are you more worried about how you look on fucking Bumble?
No, I think you should.
You know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with you, Justin. You should. You should always look hot. You should always put your best foot forward. Agree.
Yeah, and people when I did that big podcast, people were like, "Oh, how would you say like women should look good going to the grocery store?" First of all, I didn't say women. I said single women. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you're married and you're fucking 40 years old and your husband thinks you're hot in your tie dye shirt and your ugly ass shorts, wear those because that's what he likes, right? Get his fucking bacon. You know, like everybody's happy. But if you're on Bumble and Tinder and you're like, I can't find a nice guy. Well, bitch, first of all, start off by putting on something nice and go to the grocery store and Starbucks and try to meet a nice guy.
And
you know,
you have to stop referencing 40-year-old women as old. You're making me feel old here,
no,
bud.
Yeah, Justin.
not old, but
Justin, I'm 55.
Okay, so let's.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yes, she does. She does. So let's talk about this mentality, okay? Because I really am fascinated with it because I do think it's multifaceted, right? So there's the women piece, there's the party piece, there's the fast cars, the fast pace piece, there's the, hey, I'm picking up and going to Mexico today piece. Like there's all of these different facets. So
it's all impulsive.
It's fun.
It's all impulsive behavior. And so when you're impulsive like that, it makes it difficult to be able to honor responsibilities and commitments, I would think. I mean, just think about even this podcast, right? We had it scheduled the other day and last minute heading off, which is fine. It was no big deal, but it's like, it's a different kind of lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it is a different line of lifestyle. And the other thing is the importance of what is valuable, you know, and like I love being here with you guys today, but there's so much value in that making sure my kids are firing. So there's a lot of time. And if I'm going to leave for a couple of days, that those couple of days before that are like, oh, here's your food ready in the fridge.
Yep.
Here's everything. Here's your gas card.
Yep.
Here's what I need from you. And my kids are productive as shit, but they're going to get a lot of me the last few days before I leave for 3 or 4 days too. And it works for me because those 3 kids, listen, I'm that kind of person. If my company wasn't firing, if my kids weren't firing, I ain't fucking leaving nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to set on you a structure every day. I feel like I've done a good enough job where I can leave and my super can run my company for 4 days. And I feel like my kids are so confident in who they are that they just don't make bad decisions. And confidence of being who you are comes from so much structure and work as a young person, that you're the champion of what you do, that you're not having to prove anything at parties or prove yourself in weird ways to do dumb shit. And my kids are efficient and it gives me the opportunity to live a pretty good life.
Well, I mean, diving into kids, I think that's a whole other thing too, because I think that kids model behavior, but I think that they also unmodel behavior that they see that perhaps they don't want to reiterate. Like my generation is all drinkers, and this new generation of kids, like they don't drink a lot. I think that they saw that our, you know, growing up, it's like every night we have our friends over, we're, you know, winding it up, we're doing stuff. And then these kids are like, well, we don't really touch alcohol. And they were around it. So I think
because all of us were addicted. We were all addicted. I was addicted the entire time I was raising my children. I'm sober now, but I was a fucking disaster. Yeah.
The depth of my house, if I, you know, being honest, which is, it's a little different when you're talking about your own house. Like I don't mind talking about dating, but this is a little more vulnerable. But my children love the loving side of me. They love the providing side of me. They love the structure of me. My children do not agree with the women thing. None of them. First of all, I have a 15-year-old daughter that's like, no, these bitches ain't coming to our house. You got, you know, teenage boys that don't think it's cool. You know what I'm saying? And my 18-year-old.
Interesting. I'm surprised that the boys don't. I mean, I understand your daughter not liking it, but why do you think why are the boys not on board?
I don't know, like, you know, my 18-year-old boy, he's a champ. So, you know, at 14, 15, 16, he had girls over all the time. He went through that phase. And now he's in the opposite phase where he's going to church on Sunday. He's got one girlfriend, and he's a dude that looks at me. He's like, hey, like, you know, like, I just want you making good decisions, Dad. Like, it comes back.
Is it
back
the
and
women
forth.
or is it the partying?
And I love that because we're at a point now where he's such a man that there's accountability between dad and son too.
Yeah.
Of being better. And we just talked about having the power of not having sex with pretty women, right? This is the phase that him and I went through the last 3 or 6 months to be like, hey, we don't need to do this. Because it was a revolving door.
Yeah.
And it was for Delton too.
Right.
To the point where sister's like, who the hell are you guys?
This is very interesting because especially when we're talking about the possible reformation of a bachelor and the bachelor lifestyle. So you saw your son heading down the same path kind of made you think about it. Then he had this awakening, going back to you. And that is what has been one of the catalysts in you slowing down the last 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
just him and I with a lot of accountability between each other.
That's wonderful. Good for you, Justin.
Well, when we talk about this lifestyle, I love that you're able to differentiate, like your children. Like I said before, you've always been a great dad. And I think when people think of bachelors or playboys, they don't necessarily know how to separate it. So yeah, okay, shitty husband, unfaithful at times, but a good man and a good father. It doesn't have to be one or all, but at some time, again, when we're going back to that sustainability, I do wonder, like, if there's always the intrigue of something else out there, something better, the conquer of it, what would make you settle down? Like, would you want to be in an open relationship? If you got into a next serious relationship, do you think one of the possibilities of a bachelor still being able to satisfy his lifestyle and what he's used to and his urges,
conquests,
but be in a long sustaining relationship? Does open marriage or open relationship appeal to you?
No, I've never felt that way. I don't. I think that if the easy choice is this for me as a man, you either stay out of getting married again and do your life the way you want to do your life, or there's that woman that you want to go home. You leave an office or you leave a meeting or you're flying back in from something and you're so happy to come back to your house. And that is the feeling you have to have, or a guy like me, to have one woman the next 40, 50 years of my life.
I think that that's giving too much responsibility to the woman. I think that woman, I think you could come across Cindy Crawford circa 1987 and it wouldn't be enough unless your mind is set and you're ready for it. I think that in order to really reform your lifestyle, you have to have some sort of shift in you that you want to. Yes, finding the right woman is a factor in that, but I don't think that comes first. That's giving a lot of responsibility to a woman.
Agree. I think it's the mindset.
Yeah, no, there's drastic truth in that. But the last couple months I've already seen that, because you have to mentally feel that way as a man, that you can find happiness with one woman. And all I'm saying when I say that, it's not that kind of woman that's, going to bag on you or always a half glass half full. And there's women out there, and I'm telling you, like the last couple months, that woman is a phenomenal lady.
But you just aren't ready yet.
What happened, Justin? I want to know what happened with that relationship, because you've said that a couple of times, and it's the only time that I've heard you have like emotion around this topic. So what happened with that relationship? Why did it end?
There's no end.
Oh, you're still in it?
Yes.
And you're still dating multiple other women?
No, I've actually been exiting that as well.
Meaning so you're still involved, but you're trying to back away from it.
Yeah, I think the depth of my mind right now is the surety of, if you are going to make this commitment, you're either doing it or you're not. And this is something that's important. It's important to you as women too, that if you're going to take this woman and say, okay, I'm ready for this life, it's got to be 100, because now you're a 42-year-old man. Like, it's different when you're 25, you rush into a marriage, you have a kid, and you're just kind of an idiot. But now you're playing, in a deep game of being 40 years old. Like, I talked to my mom about this yesterday, and I just don't want to make a bad decision. And so I haven't rushed it, but the outlook for me is one woman. It is building everyday happiness.
I have a question though. Have you given it 100% your all? Like, are you all in? Because if you're still dating other women or even thinking about other women, how do you know?
I think the truth is, the last month or two I've done a good job not spending time with other women. So
okay, so let's go to timeline, because I actually like this. So Marnie is not only a marriage and family counselor, but also dual licensed in addiction recovery, right? And so when we talk about, they say 27 days to form a new habit, which I think is much, much longer. So if a bachelor has been living this kind of freestanding, free living lifestyle for a long time, where is the timeline to where we're like, okay, this wasn't a phase. This is actually where I am. And if it weren't for this one particular person, would you still be doing it? So for me, if I was this woman and you're honest, you say what you've done, you say how you like to live, in my mind, I'd kind of be like, okay, what's the timeline to where I can truly open up and trust? Like, when is the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
Do
Are
you
you
know that,
saying for a
Justin?
woman's outlook of what she's asking that?
Yeah, from the woman's outlook, that's what I'd be thinking. But from your outlook, like, when are you convinced that you can do this or that you want to do that? Because like you said before, everything's great for the first 6 months, even a year, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, shit, man, they're still a chick and they still nag at me and there's still things that not done. So is it easy just to go back into that spinning of, you know what, that's why I just want to go out and party my face out and stay all night and just fuck whoever's hottest at the end of the night.
Yeah, but I don't find happiness in that at all anymore, though, Tiana. Like the going out and
Okay.
still spending time with my friends and having fun. That's one thing, but I don't go out with any mentality now of what hot chick am I going to land have sex tonight? I have zero of that in my mind. And years ago, when you're a younger guy, you go out, you're like, oh, I need to land a bad bitch today. I don't burn that way at all.
Okay.
I have zero on that. Like, I'm not worried about bringing a chick home, you know?
So let me ask you this. If you're going to continue to go out and go to all these places, and I've been out with you, it is a good time and it is quite an experience. If you're going to be in a committed relationship with somebody, do they go with you or do you continue to go out by yourself?
There's never that woman that I'm going to be with. There's never her not on my side. I'm not going out without a woman. Like, I think that's a spit in the face for sure.
Wow.
Oh,
No,
I'm
even
surprised.
the last relationship I was in for the last 3 years of my life that I thought was fucking phenomenal until I had that son with her and we had a lot of changes and hormonal changes and I never not wanted to take her out with me, you know? And the loyalty was good there too.
Was it 100% or was it good?
Yeah. What's your definition of loyalty? So for me, loyalty is like being pregnant. It's like being pregnant. You either are or you're not.
No, the first couple of years was 100% that, but then when it gets to a point where you become a woman that there's a lot of toxicity and you leave my house for a week or two to go stay at your house, I don't think you're owed loyalty anymore.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, even with this new gal who sounds phenomenal, at some point, she's still going to be a human. She's still going to have women tendencies and she's going to piss you off and she's going to get pissed. She might even make mistakes. So is that going to trigger you into going back into that lifestyle and being like, well, fuck you, I'll show you?
No, it's not about women being perfect. I mean, I think we have this grandiose idea that men feel this way or certain men. It's nothing about that. It's like the turnoff of a woman that you worry about and that I'm worried about was the woman that becomes spiteful and hateful and says just fucking insane shit. And that's what I went through. It's not a woman that makes mistakes. And I don't even expect a woman to take care of me as far as like, dude, you don't have to cook for me every day. You don't have to clean for me. Like, I pay my cleaners 2 days a week. I can have people come cook. Like, I don't give a shit. It's just a woman that is that true woman that's like, here's a smack on the ass. I'm proud of what you do. Go kick ass today. Positive, positive, positive. You're not going to buy a guy a gift that's going to buy whatever he wants, but you're going to go buy a $3 gift that makes him happy as shit. That's the woman. You know what I mean?
So that makes sense. So, but that's, we're still talking about the woman. And I want to talk about the man who's living this lifestyle and the triggers and the psychology that goes beyond the man. So let's say you enter into this relationship and she's on your arm every night and you guys are going here and going there and living the lifestyle and she's kind of coming into your lifestyle and you guys are getting along and then shit goes south. So would you're now, as you're speaking of, especially with the conversations with your son, in reforming yourself and going a different direction, would your hairpin reaction be if shit starts to go south again? Are you going to go fuck around again? Or are you just going to end it with her? Because you don't have to stay in a toxic relationship, but are you going to go fuck around?
No, hell no.
Or have a conversation.
No, I've been saying this. My thing is with any woman that I'm with, if I feel like we're not that, I'm just going to be like, see you later.
Are you still going to have sex with her?
After I tell her to leave?
Yes.
It would depend what.
Let's be real, Justin. Sex with exes is a big thing.
Yeah, it would depend on what's going on in the other side of my life, right? Like if I was comfortable with it or not, it would depend on if I'm dating or having sex with other women, right? So that's a coin flip to ask.
I just want to go back to the fact that the two of you were talking about the fact that it's justified or okay to be unfaithful in a relationship if somebody behaves in a way that you don't like. There's so many other things that you can do. There's conversations that you can have. And long before a relationship gets toxic, it's your responsibility to have those conversations before toxic even comes in. And so if a relationship does become toxic, I used to tell this to my clients all the time when I was working with them. What was your part in that? Because you were a willing participant. And so there was a part of you that contributed to what made that relationship toxic. So you better figure out what it was so you don't bring it into every relationship that you go into moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth. And even looking back at this last relationship that was, I don't look at just how like her sides. There's accountability in my mind every day of like, dude, here's where you failed. You're a leader. You fucking failed here. You could have avoided this because you're a leader. There's things as a man that bother me about that too. And in the deeper side is, yes, you grow as a man. Men mature later than women mentally. Like, so you got to grow. And the other thing, the depth of like, I'm not going to be in a relationship where I'm like, oh, I'm mad at her, I'm going to go have sex with a different woman. The next relationship, if it is a relationship, I'm either with her or I'm not with her.
Well, you are in one, I thought.
We
you?
are in the stages of dating, yes.
Okay. And she knows that.
Did I make a commitment of like, you're my fucking one? No. So
okay.
You haven't said it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we're building. I mean, I'm not out there with other women, but at the same time, I'm come on, you know what I mean? Like I've fought big cases. I've went through crazy shit in my life. You don't think that I want to pressure test the fuck out of people?
Yes, I do know what you mean. And I think that goes back to the mentality of women.
You know
And
this
could be reversed, guys. This could be men or women. Whoever has that mentality of that bachelor, adrenaline junkie, fight hard, play hard, win hard mentality. If somebody tells you who they are, believe them. So if you are being honest and disclose to what it is, then they have to have some responsibility, as do you, but they have to have some responsibility as to accepting that and choosing to enter into that, knowing the risks, right?
And if they're not telling you who they are, but they're showing you who they are, believe them as well. Because a lot of people, they have, just like, I think, Justin, you were a great example. You have perspectives and core beliefs. You have core beliefs that have probably guided you your entire life. And they're different. They're yours. They're unique. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're yours. But everybody's is different. Everybody's perspective is different. I just wanted to say this as well. I've heard you say a lot, Justin, about like what your definition of a man is and things like that. My definition of a man is someone who is able to take a good look at himself and make adjustments where needed, especially when it affects his children. And the fact that you did that means you're right. You are a good man. Like that's huge. It's a big deal. So I just wanted to acknowledge
I appreciate that.
that.
Yeah, growth all the time matters, right? No matter how old we get, always growing. I think as men, we become softer humans too. We become better and softer. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm excited to see where it goes for you too, because again, with our long-standing relationship, and this is why, I mean, we get a lot of people in what we do and our clients that we work with, we get people that date the same kind of person over and over and over again. And that's one of the things that we try to do is break those patterns, those maladaptive patterns of what they're doing. So for you to recognize that this is a kind of person and a kind of relationship that you always end up in, that's huge. Now that you have knowledge and power and you accept it and admit it, you have the power to do something about it. On the flip side, for people who end up dating people who are constantly like, every guy I date, every woman I date cheats on me. They're a playboy. They party too much. Well, if you know that about them, don't do it. Don't date them again.
Maybe you should have ran from that guy, huh?
Maybe well,
right.
Well, that's the thing is that's what's
if that's
so
not what you're
interesting.
looking for, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know the relationship you have with your mom, your sister, me, your daughter, your nieces. Like you wouldn't let a man do any of the shit that that you've done sometimes. So you know the difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the accountability of what you want for your daughter and that's what hits on me every day as a man. It's like, dude, like you expect this for your sons, you expect this for your daughter. You're not the Wolf of Wall Street. You're a great human and so there's a thin line of what you're going to do in life.
Yeah, you can only get along away with do as I say, not as I do so long.
Well, especially now you have kids that are becoming of age and they're also trying to find their own way within relationships. And it sounds like you have both sons and daughters, and your sons, right? Our boys are going to learn how to show up as men and what our definition of men is. He's going to get his definition of what a man is from you. Right. And your daughter is going to learn how to allow men to treat her based on what she's seen growing up as well. And so we want what's best for our children. And so we have to model those behaviors for our children because that's how they learn.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So good for you, sir.
So going back to our topic of today, can a bachelor be reformed? I'm thinking, I don't know if there's going to be a collaboration on this. I'm assuming there is, but I'm thinking no one can reform a bachelor or bachelorette, but a bachelor or bachelorette can reform themselves. That's my take on this myth.
I'm with you 1,000%. Can a bachelor be reformed? Absolutely, but they have to want to be reformed. Can this bachelor be reformed? To be determined.
TBD. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it comes from, it's 100% going to be an inner thing for that person, right? They would want to have that one person and that happiness and contentment inside of that. And they know that that's okay to them, and they have to bleed that in their mind, that that's how they feel is good. And I think it's very doable, but it's inner thing. You guys are 100% right. It's inner substance of them wanting that in life.
Well, thank you for that. All right, Justin.
Okay.
Well, we have enjoyed having you on the episode so very much. Would you like to tell us about your company or where anybody can find you?
Yeah, you can look us up. We're DAT Concrete Specialists. We're the second largest sport court builders in Arizona.
Ooh, all the kind of sport courts?
Pickleball, basketball, whatever, custom driveways. We're big in concrete side of business.
Excellent. That's very good to know. All right, Marnie, where can they find us?
They can find us at www.mymindfulmatch.com or all the major social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. My Mindful Match.
And Justin, thank you for being so honest about a taboo lifestyle. I think we learned a lot today.
Justin, we appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. I appreciate my time with you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.